Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Jared Broadfoot. I'm the Outreach and Training Coordinator for the Oregon State Building Codes Division ePermitting section. And we're going to walk through the Oregon ePermitting app this morning and kind of walk through the inspection requests and some of the new technology that we've added to it that includes notifications. It includes the ability for you guys to upload photos. And also includes the ability to do live video inspections via the app with inspectors, as well as direct message with inspectors on inspections, regardless of who the inspector is. You guys don't have to know who the inspector is to message with them with the new feature. So we'll start by opening the app up. You guys won't see this screen. And I'm just going to buzz right through it. This is a test version, so this is what will come up. Obviously, we're running version 5.0. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner there, you'll have 5.0 is the version for both Android and iOS. So we'll start here in the top right-hand corner. This is a new feature that we've added, which is our menu. And from the menu, the first option you have is help. We're going to focus on the second one because when you download the app for the first time, you're going to be required to enter your user information. And so I'll go ahead and touch on user information to show you that we require your first and last name, phone number, and email. And what we're going to do with this info is we're going to save it and pre-populate it or load it into the contact section when you request an inspection. So you can schedule inspections via the app, and that way you're not having to type as much. We also use this information to populate data on the inspectors app, which is the Oregon Inspector app that we've built as well. It allows you guys to preload your contact information on their screen so they know who they're dealing with, regardless of who at your company potentially might be doing the communication. It pre-populates that info so they already know who they're dealing with. So you'll be required to enter that information. And then if you ever need to change it or update it, you can just access that from the menu. The help option, this is a web page dedicated to help for anything you need for the ePermitting app. You can see here we have the announcement of the new version of the app with all of the new features. We also list virtual and in-person training dates for the app here. I'm getting ready to schedule some more in-person training. We recently spent a week training down the North Coast, meeting with contractors there, and we'll continue to do that statewide. And then additionally, at the bottom there, you'll notice there's my contact information, which is my email and my cell phone. If you guys have any issues, please feel free to call me. You can also take a screenshot of anything that's going on in the app and text it to me and ask for assistance that way. And then down here, we've got instructions. So you can actually download the app, not know how to use it, access the help page, and get step-by-step instructions with screenshots. Basically, the training I'm giving you step-by-step in a PDF document on a web link there. So you can access that if you've never used the app and need to from the help page before ever having to try to use the app at all. So we'll start at the top here. You can always check which jurisdictions offer ePermitting and participate, because this only works in those jurisdictions that participate in the ePermitting program. So if I touch on check participating jurisdictions, it gives me a full list of all of the cities and all of the counties that offer or participate in ePermitting. And then you see we have some little keys there at the end with or actually some notes at the end, letters, with a key up here to let you know if they do building planning, accepts planning online payments. You can see all of those jurisdictions and what they offer by clicking on that link. I'm going to touch the back arrow at the top left-hand corner of the screen to go back to the main menu of the or the main screen of the app. Next, you'll see you can search for building, on-site and septic, and public works, and schedule those inspections through here. We'll obviously focus on building. So you can search by permit number, address, or license number. We definitely recommend searching by permit number. It's very specific. You'll get the result that you're looking for. If you don't know the permit number, obviously address is a great way to search. It is going to give you every open and closed permit for that address, as long as that jurisdiction has been participating in ePermitting. So a little bit more on your search results there. And then, of course, if you search by your license number, you're going to see every record that's associated to your license number, whether it's opened or closed. So really multiple options there to search. I'm going to use the permit number search to kind of do the demo today. So I'm searching for a record that we use as a test record. Now, when you're entering the data for a search, sometimes less is more. And I'll give you an example. On the address, you're going to want to enter the house number or the street number, and then the first 3 letters of the street name. That's going to give you more results there, so you can make sure you get the correct address, because addressing can be funny sometimes. For the permit number, if I stop here and just enter the numbers, it's going to pull up every permit with this number. So I could potentially pull up the mechanical, plumbing, electrical, or any other discipline of permit with this number. If I want to make it specific, I would add the last little bit of the permit number, in this case, which is a structural permit. I'm going to take that off for my search just to show you there's only one. It's going to bring up all of them, but there's only a structural permit. Now that I've done a search, we get our search results. So this could be one or multiple permits. And on each permit, you have the ability to look at inspection history, which is the top left button, green button there. And inspection history is going to show you inspection status. It's going to show you what inspection it was, who it was. It's also going to show you any comments that were added. So a quick way for you to go look at your inspection results. I'll hit the back button. You can also look at scheduled inspections, would be the next button over, and then you can also schedule a new inspection. So if I touch scheduled inspections, I'm going to get a look at all of the scheduled inspections I have for this permit. On the bottom left, I'm going to touch permits to get back over to be able to look at my permits. And you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, you can kind of tab between permits and scheduled inspections on any of these permits. But when you're looking at multiple records, we've added that scheduled inspection buttons there, so you can look at them for each individual one and then use that bottom left hand to get back to your permit view. To schedule a new inspection, simply touch the schedule a new inspection button. You'll notice now the difference between online scheduling and the mobile app is you can select multiple inspections and schedule them at one time. And that was something that came from you guys as contractors as a request to us quite a while ago, and we added that feature over a year ago, I believe it was, because it is very inconvenient not to be able to schedule multiple inspections at one time. So yes, you can do that. If you don't want to see this message every time, go ahead and touch that little box there and then hit OK. I don't hit it because I want it to show every time I do a training. Then what you're going to see is all your required inspections and then any additional inspections on the record. And if they're already scheduled, they're going to show a date below the inspection name and number in red. And so you can see there, I've got a couple already scheduled. So I can select multiple inspections. I'll hit next. It's going to populate the dates that are available for those inspections. So if you're working in a jurisdiction that only offers certain inspections or only does business on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, then those are the only days that'll populate. The local jurisdictions supply us with that information, which we plug into the system to provide to you guys so that it's accurate. So I'll choose my inspection date. You'll notice now it populates with my inspection request, my name, number, and email. And then I can enter comments. And these are your request comments. This is where you get to ask the inspector to contact you a half hour before he heads out, or this is your opportunity to ask the inspector if you can do a live video inspection or a photo submission for this one. The photo submissions and live video inspections are going to be prompted by the inspectors. So those are the way that you'll be able to do those. But if you want to ask them, feel free. But this is where your comments can go. The other thing is this is where you can enter any instructions like gate codes or locations where hide keys may be. If you're working in a rural jurisdiction, you're looking for a key to a gate potentially. So that information can be entered here and is only visible by the inspector in the local jurisdiction. That's not publicly available info. So that would be the comments, and then you would submit and it would schedule your inspections. I'm not going to do that because I've already got some scheduled, so I'll just go ahead and back out of here by hitting the back button very quickly. The next thing I want to go through is the menu. The menu is different after you do a search as it is before you do a search. Okay, so after you do a search, you can actually then check your notifications. So we've given you guys the ability to receive push notifications. So what that means is every time one of your inspections is resulted, you can get a notification on it. The way to get a notification to basically register or sign up for notifications is to search for the permit. So once you search for the permit, which you'll obviously do if you're going to use the app to schedule an inspection, but once you do that, it registers your device for the notifications, and then you'll receive notifications on it. So make sure that if you want to receive notifications that you're using the app and actually searching for that permit number. Otherwise, the app has no way of knowing which inspections you want notifications on. So what notifications could you potentially get? Well, you're going to get one every single time an inspection is resulted. So as soon as that inspector hits submit on his app, it's going to send you those inspection results. So if I touch on notifications, I can see the top one, worksite address, gives me the address, the inspection, 1900 structural investigation. It was scheduled for today against my permit with this number, has resulted with a status approved. So I get that notification instantly, okay? So it's going to come through in a couple different ways. Number one, it's going to be put on this, on your notifications list after you do a search in the app from the menu. Okay, so that's how you're going to access that, the notifications. And it'll be listed here and it'll stay here for 7 days. The other place it's going to be is on the notifications on your device itself. Let's see where to go. There's all my notifications. But you can see here, I've got this same notification on my device that it was resulted. So it's going to come through as a push notification on your device and be in the notification center. And it's also going to remain in the app here on the notification page. After 7 days, that notification is going to automatically delete. So you guys don't have to manage your notifications. It's not a never-ending list. What you're going to be seeing is the last 7 days. If you guys think you need a little bit more time on those notifications, then let us know. We can adjust that timeline, but we felt 7 days was an appropriate timeline that you wouldn't need a notification anymore, especially because the automatic notification you're going to get is that your inspection's been resulted. The other notifications that you may end up getting could be, and let me go down here. So you see the top one now says inspector is ready for video inspection. Inspectors have the ability to manually send you these push notifications, and that way your phone actually buzzes or rings if you have it set to do that. If you have it on silent completely, it's not going to do it, obviously. But if you have those notification settings set correctly, you'll get a buzz or a ding or a whatever sound you have set on your device that you're getting these. So they can tell you that they're ready for a video inspection. They can tell you that they want you to upload photos. And we're going to go through that here in a second. They can tell you that they're on their way, that they'll be there in 15 or 30 minutes, that they're late. They've got a number of things that they can communicate if they decide in that matter. You may not get those notifications from an inspector, but you have the ability to. So we're going to kind of see how this goes. All the inspectors, just so everyone knows, have been required to update to this to the newest version of their app, which has this technology. And we're conducting the same kind of trainings with them. So it may take a few weeks in your jurisdiction to kind of get up to speed and have the, get you registered on your permits and have the inspectors start using it. But definitely talk to them. But those are the kind of notifications that you will receive. You can see another one. Please upload pictures via the ePermitting app. That would tell you to upload pictures. So, and you guys can stop me at any time. So feel free to buzz in and ask any questions. So those were the notifications. The next thing on the menu is the queue. We really don't need to talk about it other than so you know that when you upload photos, those photos go into the queue and they sit there until they're processed and communicated to the server and sent. So if there's ever an error, you can go in there and hit the retry button, or you can go in there and take a screenshot and text it to me, or give us a call and tell us what's going on so we can look at it. But that's only really for issues that, or problems. If you're in poor service, it may sit there a while until you get to good enough service, and then it'll go ahead and send them out. And then the help option, that's the same as on the other menu, just another way to get to it from this menu. The documents section is kind of a work in progress for you guys. Number one, if you access documents right now from this menu, it's going to take you to PDF instructions of how to use the app. These are within the app. This doesn't take you to an external link. The other thing that we're kind of looking at doing is expanding this and maybe providing some fillable forms for information that is required from you guys to provide to the local jurisdiction. That may be moisture content, that may be something else, but we're looking at adding some forms there, and any opportunity we have to make it easier for you guys to submit information to the local building department would be an opportunity. So that's what we're kind of looking at. And then we're also looking at putting some other instructional documents, as we use the photo submissions more, as we do those kind of things, maybe we can add some documents there that kind of direct folks or give you examples of the types of pictures that we want to see. And we've done that on some pilot programs like minor labels for mechanical installations, where we provided instructional documents of what the inspectors wanted to look at if they were inspected on a minor label. So that's what that section's for. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions of anything that we could do there to help you, make your lives easier in dealing with your construction process and the permitting process and inspection process, let us know, because we can we're continuing to work on this technology. One of the things that we'd like to look at is giving you guys the ability to pull and pay for permits and submit documentation through this app. But those are kind of next steps. So definitely let us know, and we'd be happy to kind of look into whatever we can do to make this the best app possible to get through this process. So next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go in and look at scheduled inspections. Okay, and I've got an exterior shear wall and a street trees inspection scheduled for today. Okay, and I'm going to focus on this bottom one, which is the exterior shear wall. So first thing we're going to notice, I have the option here to upload photos. So if I'm asked by the inspector to upload photos, I simply touch the upload photos button, and then we've got a green plus button. You're going to hit that. You're going to either use your camera, or maybe you already have a photo because you didn't have service. But we definitely recommend using the app and using the camera within the app to take your pictures. But if you're in an area where you have absolutely no service, that may not be possible, and you may have to use the camera and then upload them. But we definitely recommend using the camera. And then you're going to get a great view of my laptop. You can take up to 10 pictures on iOS devices and Android. iOS, you'll be able to take them in succession, just like I did there. On Android, it's going to take them, drop them in. You're going to have to do the plus button again. And that's just an Android thing and restriction. So, but you can upload up to 10 photos. Don't worry about renaming them, because once they are submitted, they're going to be compressed into a PDF document. So the names are just going to go away. So don't worry about renaming them, even though you have the option. But let's say you took 3 pictures and one of them's bad, before you submit, you can just start on the right-hand side of the screen with your finger touching and swipe to the left, and you can just delete the picture. So once you have the pictures that you want to submit, all you're going to need to do is press update. It'll tell you it's submitting. I'm going to back out and see if I can show you that queue before it submits. Nope. It already went through, so I wasn't quick enough. And so by the time I get back here, it's processed. And now I see that I've got a PDF here. So you're able, before the inspections resulted, you're able to come and view the pictures that you took. Those pictures are tagged with GPS coordinates and location. And we do that for verification purposes. So that's why we're encouraging you to use the app there. And, obviously an inspector's not going to say, hey, can you upload photos if they don't trust you, or if they think you're going to try to pull one over on them somehow. So we've added the GPS coordinates there to give some, kind of comfort and ability to double check the location of where it was taken. So it's not on a different subdivision or a different house or something like that. So that's where the photos get uploaded to and how you can upload them. So now that I've uploaded them, the moment they got uploaded, the inspector on his application received a notification that these pictures were uploaded. So then he's able to go in and pull up that inspection, view your photos, and conduct his inspection and result it. So any questions on the photo submission portion of it?
I had a question real quick about scheduling the inspection.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I'm a coordinator at the office, and so sometimes I'll schedule inspections, but then a technician will go on site. Is there a way for me to schedule it so it shows up on their app, or is that not
Yes,
possible?
absolutely. So let's say you and I are working together and you go on the app and you schedule it. I can do the same thing on my phone with my app, and I can bring it up and be the one that uploads photos. So there's no restriction in that manner. You can definitely schedule, and that's kind of how we designed it intentionally. Was it's not always the person that scheduled the inspection that's going to be on site. So when that person that's going to be on site does anything like upload photos, or you'll notice we've got this button that says video inspection, check-in, and messages. If they hit that button, it puts them in the messaging center and the kind of the waiting room to do a live video inspection. That's going to register their contact information to the inspector, not yours, because they're on their device. That makes sense?
Yeah. And then what if they don't want to do the inspector doesn't want to do a video inspection and they're coming on site? Because I know with certain software you can put it on-site contact.
Yeah, so here when you go to schedule that inspection, it auto populates with your information. You can definitely erase that or delete that and put a different contact in that instance. But for your site contact, let's say you want your site contact to actually get a notification, then they would have to search for it. Otherwise, if it's a regular on-site inspection, no one on site has to do anything with an app. You could schedule every one of them and list their contact information as the site contact and be on your way.
Perfect.
Yeah. All righty. So let's go over next button. Pretty simple, reschedule. You hit that, you can reschedule the inspection just like you would scheduling, picking the date that you want it. And then you can cancel the inspection. Please note that you cannot reschedule or cancel inspection after 7 a.m. of the same day of the inspection. So if you need to do something after that point, you actually have to call the local jurisdiction and the app won't let you do it. So next thing is the video inspection check-in and messages. So if you're in a situation where the inspector wants to do a live video inspection, this is where you go for the waiting room. So inspector may call you and say, hey, I'll be ready in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you're going to come into this waiting room and hit this button. This is how you get in there. And you're going to sit and wait here until you get a request from the inspector for your location. That's when you know you'll be ready to go. He may pop on here, he or she may pop on here and send you a message, or you can send them a message when you get in here and say, hey, here, I'm ready. So, you know, that kind of thing. So one of the things that you want to think about is if you have one of these scheduled, they may message you, they may send you a notification. If you receive a notification, that means you need to come in and be waiting. Now, notice I've got multiple inspections here. So you're going to need to pay attention to which inspection that you're doing the live video inspection on. So for example, both of these are scheduled for today, but they only want to do a live video inspection on the exterior shear wall because maybe the street trees inspection, that inspector can make it on site. So you need to go into that inspection's waiting room in order to make it work. So that's what I'll do. I'll come in here. And so you'll come in here and wait. This is where you can message if you need to. Note that if you're going to send a message, I mean, as with any communication, whether it's an email, a phone call, for example, I call the main office and leave a message for the inspector. I know he's probably not going to get that till the next morning or that evening when he gets back from doing inspections. Same thing applies here with these messages. If it's not the day of the inspection, inspector's probably not going to see it on his device because the way their job list works is they're looking at today's job. So they start their morning, they look through all their inspections, they're looking at request comments, they're looking at previous inspections, and they're checking messages. So same day communication, we definitely recommend using the messages. You can use them for anything, and it's there to really test. So if you've got an inspector that you've got a great relationship with and they want to use this technology and they're like, yeah, I'm checking my messages, just know that not every inspector in the state of Oregon that uses this is going to be so savvy about checking their messages. So it may be a little bit hit and miss, just like it may be hit and miss getting a phone call returned sometimes or getting someone to open an email. But day of doing the inspection, if we're doing photos or uploads or something like that, it's a very handy tool to be able to message while you're in the app and not have to go outside of it to do something else. So here, what I'm going to demonstrate for you is inspectors sent me a notification and said they're ready for the video inspection. So I'm in here in the waiting room. And the inspector is going to request my location. So I get this pop up, send your location to the inspector for verification. I hit send. It says, please wait for the call. Inspector verifies your location. So he's going to check to see if you're anywhere close to where the address of the job site is. GPS technology being what it is, it may say you're at the neighbors. But if you're across town or across the state, they're going to go, you know, I don't think I'm looking at the right job site. So it's verification for them. So I'm going to start this call and give me a second because it's sometimes a little confusing trying to play inspector and contractor at the exact same time. So just give me a second to get my bearings, but I'm going to start this call. So it's ringing in on your end. We're going to answer the call as the contractor. There I am. I can't figure out which one it is. All right, I got to mute this stuff so we don't get any feedback. Okay, so you have control of the camera. So the inspector's wanting you to show them what they want to inspect. So I flipped the camera around. Just so you know, I've requested as an update, so there'll be an update to the app. There's always updates, right? There'll be an update to the app. I've asked them to default the camera pointing away from you because it's quite a pain to to have it facing right at you and try to figure out that you need to turn it around. But anyway, so basically the inspector will direct you to what he or she wants to look at. They can take screenshots the entire time that they're doing this to keep for the permanent record. And then once you can talk to them, obviously, and then once you're done, you just hang up. That video inspection is what they needed to see. If they wanted to take pictures for documentation, they're able to do that. It's going to save that as part of that inspection report and be available in the documents section of your permit forever. So there's a permanent record of it. So that's how you conduct a live video inspection. Obviously, we're dealing with cellular technology or potentially Wi-Fi. So if you don't have Wi-Fi and you don't have great cell service or no service, then obviously it's going to limit your ability and you're not going to be able to do any searches. So let's talk about that. If I've got a job site that doesn't have cell phone service, I'm obviously just going to take pictures with my phone and upload them through the app. Or one thing I could do, because I'm kind of tech savvy and I figured this workaround stuff out, is I could open the app, search like I have, find my permit, come into my scheduled inspections, hit upload photos, and leave the app on this screen, take it to the job site. And then when I got to the job site, pull the app up, hit the plus button, choose the camera option, snap the pictures, hit update. And then whenever I get back into service, the app's going to do its thing and send those pictures off. So that's a workaround. But if that applies to you, that would be a workaround. Or like I said, you can just use the camera on your phone. So any questions on the video inspections or the direct messaging?
Do you have an
Perfect.
idea of the percentage of inspectors out there that are using the video inspection and photo inspections right now?
So because it's new, very low right now. They only received their app about 2 weeks before you guys did. So we've been training through the inspectors, teaching them the technology. There are those inspectors who are doing backflips right now because it's just going to make their world so much easier. We have inspectors in very small jurisdictions that are going, yeah, I don't know that I'll use this. Our recommendation is communicate with your inspectors, talk to them. Okay. If ask them about it, hey, because they have to have it. So if they're using an application, well, actually, they could potentially have the old Android version, but we have very few that do. So most are on Apple. They're required to have the new app. So you may want to ask them. And if they haven't got the training, or if they're like, oh, I don't know how to use it, or I don't have time for that, just remind them that just like you guys, if they touch menu and help from their app, it's going to take them directly to their help page that's going to list all of their in-person and virtual training opportunities. And it's also going to give them my cell phone number and my email so they can get a hold of me and I can train them one-on-one within about 5 minutes notice. So we're really working hard to get the inspectors trained. I have trained a ton of inspectors over the last month. It's, definitely they have the technology. It's just getting them to use it. It may take you guys to kind of prod them on certain things. If you got a trench that needs covered or, filled and it's one of those that it's going to take them an hour to get there, or whatever example you may have, ask them, encourage them. And then if they tell you, well, I don't know how, then say, hey, get a hold of them. And I'm not opposed to you calling me and saying, hey, Jared, this jurisdiction may need some training, and then I can always reach out and say, hey guys, I'd like to set up a training with you virtually, and then I can train the whole department and get them going.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? Well, last but not least, if you want to get back to do another search to the main part of the home screen, you just have to touch that little blue house on the top left-hand side of the screen, and it'll take you back out here so you can start over and do a search. Like I said earlier, if you guys have any suggestions after you start using it, please let me know, and do that by just hitting the menu and hitting help and shooting me an email or giving me a call. So thank you guys very much, and don't hesitate to reach out.
Great, thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye. You too.